Good morning, guys. Good morning. Hope we're ready to get this morning started. I know I am. Hope you're ready to have the most amazing day ever. There we go. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Fearless Morning Show, where we are having confessions and conversations about your everyday life. My name is Yamitra Jojo Waddell, the only Live Past Crazy specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? Good morning. Good morning. It's going to be the most amazing day ever. Good morning. Let's do an introduction. Welcome to the show. Please make sure you share the show because sharing is caring. If your friends and family do not have Facebook, send them over to the YouTube channel. They can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows over there. Don't forget, we have the podcast everywhere podcasts are found. We have the movie. We have the books. We have all the things. Give you guys a link to the podcast so you can have that, so that you can share it. It's also on Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Pandora, any listening device that you listen to, it is on there. And it costs you nothing to subscribe in YouTube. Thank you for being here this morning. You can make sure you hit that bell and subscribe as well. So now you got the books, you have all the things. So yesterday we talked about not only justifying our abundance, that we don't have to do that. We talked about some things to be present and how to be present and live in that moment when somebody makes you question your abundance and the things that your blessings and the things that you have. So we talked about that. Today I want to talk about ownership and what that looks like. So I want us to begin taking ownership of our circle, ownership of who we are, ownership of who we are and why we are. And often we don't take ownership because we assume it's not for us to take ownership of, or that it's for somebody else to do, when it's absolutely us to take ownership of. And we worry about the consequences of owning our own power. We worry about the consequences of owning our own power. Well, what are the consequences of owning our own power? What does that look like? As we have a cup of tea in a Sister Rise mug, make sure you grab you one. We have lemon and ginger this morning. What are the consequences of owning our own power? Is there a consequence? Like, is there a reason why at this moment we don't want to take ownership of our circle, of our power, of our light? Insert whatever word, ourselves, our journey, whatever it is that you want to do. Is there a reason why we're not doing that? And I'm firm believing it's because we're worrying about the consequences of taking ownership. Me. Worrying about the consequences of taking ownership of what being authentic and living to my truest version of myself is. So if I'm worried about what other people are thinking, and if this ownership is even for me to take, because sometimes we question if this is this really something for me to do. Like, do I really need to take ownership of this thing? Do I really need to figure this out? Is it for me to own it? Of course it is. And so here's my question. And I have two. Well, one. If we worry about the consequences of taking our own ownership of whatever it is, we have to look at the past. How much of the past should we respectfully preserve, and how much should we disregard in order to evolve, to move past? How much of the past should I respectfully preserve? Like, this is part of my past. I honor this. How much of my past should I let go and evolve from? In the center that sits ownership. Me taking ownership of who I am. Me saying, I'm not going to worry about the consequences of me owning my power, because there are no there are consequences if you don't own it. The consequences of you owning it is for the betterment of you. The consequence of you not owning your power, your light, and so whatever, is to the negative, because there's good and bad, and right. And so we have to think about, if I'm always thinking about, and I'm positive Patty about all the good things that happen if we take ownership, well, what are the things that will happen if I don't take ownership? What will continue? What will I always have to fight for? What will I always have to argue for? Because right now you're arguing for your limitations, and eventually you won't have to. People will honor your limitations because you've been arguing and presenting your case for so many years. We will no longer argue with you. We will honor you and all of your limitations. What would happen if you took ownership of who you are, your power, and your light, and your ability to change your immediate environment today? Like, you can change it at this moment, at this second, right now. If you did not worry about the consequences of taking that ownership, what would it look like? What would that look like for you? How much of the past should you respectfully preserve, and how much of it should you let go so that you can grow and evolve? In the center of that lives your ownership of your circle. So as you are looking to take ownership of your circle this morning, as you're seeking to do that thing, what does taking ownership of your circle look like? It may look like you honoring where you are, honoring how far you've come to get to this point. So if I'm taking ownership and I'm owning who I am in my circle, who I am in the middle of the chaos that is JoJo, if I'm owning that part, I'm going to be respectful. Remember, in the book we talk about, I respectfully stand at this gate. And for those who don't know what book I'm talking about, this is the workbook that we did at Sister Rise. You can grab your copy of me, put it here if you would like. It's one S, no S. Let me double check. You can grab a copy of that. But in here, it says, I respectfully stand at the gate and ask for permission. I ask for permission to begin this journey. That's what you taking ownership of your circle looks like. So if I'm respectfully standing at the gate, right? If I'm respectfully doing that, and I'm saying, JoJo, we're going to begin this journey. Yes, I am. Then what does that ownership look like? Good morning, Miss Janice. Yeah, ownership is absolutely necessary. Like, ownership is simple. Listen, for me included in the beginning, we loved tag words. I gotta find my purpose in life. I gotta find my soul purpose. Like, what am I here to do? Your sole purpose in life is to live to the truest, authentic version of yourself. That's your whole purpose. Anything that you do outside of that is an extension of who you are. So if my sole reason for being on this planet, on this realm of reality, and 3D, 5D, whichever way you believe, or whichever realm you think you're in, the sole purpose of you being here is to live to your truest, most authentic version of yourself. You have no other purpose. There's no other purpose. When you take ownership of that, when you understand that is your purpose, everything that you do outside of that is an extension of you living to your with your true authentic self. So if I'm true and authentic to JoJo, Sister Rise, the Live Past Crazy Specialist, the workbooks, all the things is an extension of me living to my true authentic version of myself. That's all that is. So when we take ownership, we're agreeing, as I take ownership of the circle of me, I'm simply agreeing that I'm going to live to the truest, most authentic version of myself. I'm going to ask myself, how much of the past should I respectfully preserve? And how much should I discard in order to evolve? How much should I preserve respectfully? And how much should I discard in order for me to evolve? Right there sits the ownership of your circle. And some of us, we're worried about the consequences of us taking that ownership. There are consequences if you don't, and there are consequences if you do. You're right here and you're drawing the line in the sand. You're right here in the center trying to figure that part out. Period. So on this great day, here's a quote from my friend Carolina. If y'all, and I know it's winter time and I have on I wear belly shirts every day. So that's okay. I was trying to find her book. This book right here. It is Radiant Expansion, Size Matters. This is a quote from her book. I trust the size of my power. All my definitions of power are getting upgraded. Peaceful power. I met this lady in, let me see what, I don't even know what year this is. This is 20, it had to be 2016, 2017. Me and her spoke at the same event. And at the end of the event, there's a bluebird out here drinking water. At the end of the event, we had to hold hands with the woman beside us. She walked up to me and she says, I see you. Never seen a lady a day in my life. She grabbed my hands. She looked me in the eye. She said, I see you. I started to cry. Never met that lady before in my life. I started to cry. The next morning, she was having yoga in the water. I was petrified of water. I would have panic attacks if water came up above my ankle. Like I had to force myself to calm down to let it get to my waist. It was a really big thing for me. She's a Reiki master. Within 20 minutes of being in her presence, I was in the center of the pool. Normally, I don't go past the edge. I only hold on to the edge. I don't go past it. It's not getting up to my neck. It's only getting to my waist. 20 minutes in. After understanding, trust the size of my power, I'm in the center of the pool doing yoga moves. Not only that, reading this book. So that was like 2016, I want to say. There's 3 bluebirds out there, y'all. 3 years after, and I was still reading this book. I find myself in Puerto Rico, and I find myself overcoming my fear yet again. I find myself in a boat, like I could stretch my whole body from one end of the boat to the other. And we took that boat to the middle of the Atlantic and the Caribbean Ocean where they both met, where the water turns different colors and it doesn't mix. I went there in a boat, a banana boat, with three other people in my little bitty boat. When you're ready to take ownership of your power, amazing things happen. Trust the size of your power. We're going to take ownership of it today. Upgrade your definition of it. Peace and power. Peace and power. Don't worry about the consequences of you not taking ownership of it. Worry about the consequences if you don't take ownership of it. And right now, we're living already in that. You're already living in that. So on this great, most amazing day, this is for insert from the workbook. I don't know why I feel moved to read this today, but I hope it's for somebody. If it's not for you, please leave it for somebody else. See yourself as the creator of your own destiny. This is my words to you. Knowing that you have the power to shape your future and achieve your dreams. This is the beginning of you understanding your sacred energy. It can be called upon at any time. It's simply waiting for you. When you are ready to find your power, breathe in, then breathe out. You can do this anywhere, anytime you need it. As you breathe in, relax your body and your mind. With every breath in, you are bringing energy in with you. As you breathe out, feel the energy in your body getting stronger and more powerful. Take ownership of your circle. Don't worry about the consequences of you taking ownership in this moment. Take the ownership first. And when you do that, you're finding the purpose of yourself. The purpose of yourself is to live to your truest, authentic version of yourself. It is here where you decide what you should respectfully honor from your past and what you should discard in order to evolve and move forward. You will then begin to redefine your definition of power. It is the most amazing thing. This is the book, Radiant Expansion. I'm going to share it with you. Size Matters. Her name is Carolina Perez. So if you would like to read that, and it has some great exercises in the back. So I hope you have the most amazing day ever. I want you to be peaceful, period, because I believe that there's nothing after that. There is absolutely nothing after that. Period. So on this great day, please make sure you share the show because sharing is caring. If your friends and family don't have Facebook, send them over to the YouTube channel. They can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows over there. I am doing an information session on the Circle of Me, December the 19th at 3 p.m. So you can join me there. It is free. And we're going to talk more about what is the Circle of Me and how we're going to work through that. Look at that as more of an extension past this workbook, going in a little bit deeper on the Circle of Me. So I hope you guys have the most amazing day ever. If you share the show, please let me know so I can probably tell you thank you. I greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys here bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a good one.